Welcome back to another episode of Organizing Tune-Ups with your host, Jessica Littman, the Organized Mama, where we break down big organizing concepts into small, bite-sized chunks you can do in your home every day for 5 to 15 minutes. We are covering something that has to do with kids and adults alike, and these things are called executive skills. Okay, so back in the day when I was teaching, we would have to work on kind of like quote unquote life skills. And these life skills were things like organizing your binder and writing in an assignment notebook, making sure you showered or put on deodorant for the older kids because they are smelly. So all of those things were considered life skills. And now the term has kind of taken a broader view and it's called executive skills. There are 7 executive skills that we kind of focus on in regards to kids and adults and functioning members of society. So the 7 executive skills are planning, organizing, cognitive flexibility, working memory, impulse control, social understanding, and time management. So these 7 skills, and again, sometimes they're grouped differently based on what I know from my schooling, my continuing ed. I'm going with these 7. So these 7 executive skills are what kids and adults need to function as humans. And really it starts and lays the foundation for building upon each other. So the research shows an overwhelming number of research studies have been done about how these skills are linked to kids' success in school. So if your kiddo is able to plan, organize, think flexibly, remember things, can kind of put themselves in other people's shoes, use their time in an appropriate manner for their age, they're going to be able to have stronger reading comprehension, make more cohesive writing essays, make more logical connections throughout all of their studies, and like a ton more kind of research-backed evidence as to why these skills are necessary for young kids. And what I've been finding since I've been talking about executive skills, executive functioning skills, life skills for the past 10 plus years now is that when I talk about these skills, a lot of adults realize, oh, well, I never learned how to manage my time. I never learned how to do X, Y, or Z. And so some of these skills, adults can benefit from the teachings and the kind of like processing of these skills in order to benefit their lives. So that's why I'm like a huge believer in like teaching and learning and growing your executive skills. So how does this fit in with organizing? Like, yes, organizing is one of the skills. So is planning. So is time management. Ooh, so is working memory. All of these things go with organizing. And so some ways in which we can kind of grow these skills is what we're going to cover. So all of these skills either build on each other for some of the bigger concepts, or they are kind of like going hand in hand with some of the concepts. So I'll give you an example. Time management and planning really go hand in hand. Yes, you can plan your day perfectly, follow, all sorts of structure and everything. But if you aren't managing your time to actually get those things done, your planning is going to go nowhere. So those 2 skills go hand in hand. Same with working memory and organizing. They go hand in hand together because working memory focuses on sequence and connecting the dots, remembering where things are. That's organizing as well. You need to sequence, you need to group, you need to kind of like sort things through, remember the groupings that you had, all of that fun stuff. So a lot of these skills do work together. So I'm going to kind of like clump them together for the purpose of this podcast, but I do go more in depth on every single skill and ways in which you can do that in my Executive Skills for Kids workbook, which you can get where you are listening to this podcast. I'm going to focus on 3 big topics, and that is planning, organizing, and time management, because those are the 3 things I feel like could benefit you as the adult as well as your kids. So let's work together with our kids to really grow our executive skills so that we can feel more confident, more like an adult. Like if you're like me, you still don't totally feel like you're the adult. And not saying like you have to feel like an adult, but sometimes it just helps to have this extra set of skills that you now know how to do that you can instill into your kids. So we're going to start with organizing because it's my favorite topic. With organizing, the basis, the foundation of organizing is grouping and sequencing. That is the basic foundation of organizing. You group like items together, you sequence them based on how you use them, how you wear them, like their purpose, and we really like focus on that. So to do these things with your kids, with yourself, start with an area that's easy. And I like clothes because clothing kind of like it makes sense. So you're going to start with clothes, and you're going to have your kid group clothes together and store them in an area like a drawer, hang them in the closet, whatever it may be, and have them do that skill. They are grouping and they are sequencing, they are storing, they are spatial planning. I mean, I know that, again, all of these go together. So they're doing all of these things that are basic skills, and you want to encourage that. So when my daughter was like 2 or 3, she started putting away all of her clothes, which if you have toddlers, having them put away clothes is going to help immensely because they're going to stop taking everything out of the drawers because they know what's going in it. Okay, trust me on this. It was the best hack I ever figured out when Adley was like, I think she was like 1.5 years or 2 years old. She just put everything in and then she stopped taking things out of her drawers. It was amazing. So have your kiddos start putting things into the drawers. Toddlers, talk about it. Like, these are shorts. Where do shorts go? And kind of like walk them through that thinking process. You are laying the foundation for these skills, which are going to help them in school and in life. For elementary age kids, I encourage you to have them put away their laundry, and then when they do that, they can figure out where their clothing can go in their closet or in their dresser, wherever you keep their clothing. And so then they're starting to plan this out. With middle schoolers, high schoolers, they can take more charge. They need to be the ones that understand where things go because it's their space. They need to start managing that space. So they need to start with these organizing skills like grouping, tidying, and clothing is an easy place to start. You can do this with yourself as well by grouping your clothing, either based on how you wear them, seasons, types of clothes. There are a lot of options, which is why organizing can seem overwhelming. So pick one that makes sense to you and then stick with that. Planning. Planning is another executive skill that we can really benefit, everyone can benefit from. So the biggest thing with planning with younger kids is to list out what they're going to do. Back when I was teaching, we had a program called Plan, Do, Review. And while there were some things that weren't so great about Plan, Do, Review, I like the planning component. So toddlers, even elementary school kids, you can come up with a plan. So have the kids, so what are you going to do? What is your plan? Have them say their plan, have them do their plan, and then have them review the plan that they did. This thinking process, having them verbally explain the whole thing, You can have them write it out too. Some kids really do well with it written out to help keep them focused. Also, if you do have a kid that is neurodivergent, writing it out to help keep them focused will help with the planning so that they can start executing these things in a way that makes sense for their brain. And so talking through what is the plan, doing the plan, and then following up about the plan really helps plan everything, okay? It also helps with like tasks, with completing projects. I mean, think about yourself, okay? You set a goal. I'm going to reorganize my entire kitchen. So you say your plan, but then you don't take action on it. Then you can't review that plan. So you're getting fumbled on one of the steps of planning because you have to plan it, you have to do it, and then you have to tweak it, review it for what it is. So focusing on then maybe breaking the plan down smaller. Okay, I'm going to organize a kitchen drawer. And so then you organize a kitchen drawer and then you look at, okay, does this work for my family? Yes or no? And that's your review process. And if it doesn't, you tweak it, which is again, the review process. All of that fits into planning, and it really helps kids of all ages, including adults, really think through the entire planning process. So do something like Plan, Do, Review to kind of help you through the planning process. Checklists with like small tasks to do. Always keep it small. It's going to help keep you focused. And then the third executive skill we're going to cover in this episode is time management. And with time management, it is exactly what it sounds. You're managing your time. We really want to focus on using the time that you set for yourself. And so I have an episode where we talk about time blocking. That is one strategy for managing your time, blocking off your time so that you can use it effectively. Another thing to help you is timers. I'm a huge fan of visual timers. We have them all over the place. If you have a Google or Alexa, they are a great way. Set timer for X amount of minutes. And then when the timer goes off, the task needs to be completed. You're switching tasks, you have to go somewhere, whatever it is. But using timers, we now have so much technology to help us manage our time. So let's start working smarter with managing our time by using our devices, by using all of this technology to help keep us organized, and it'll help keep us on time and managing our time effectively. You can do the same with the kiddos. If you have any device like that, you can set voice reminders, you can set timers, you can set all of those things for your kids in order to help them realize the time frame, how long they have to complete a task before something is due. All of those things are the foundation of setting time management. So I strongly encourage you to try out one of these skills. And if you want to learn more, there is more information down where you're watching or listening to this podcast.